Well, now that you're back on the podcast, what do you want to talk about?
Uh, we still haven't gotten a chance to talk about spring training.
So yeah, we went to spring training. What was our second spring training? Now it's an annual thing, right?
Yeah, one thing, and this time it was interesting because I realized that I don't necessarily like Arizona that much. First time it was like the excitement of being there. First time it was the excitement of being in Arizona, excitement of being at spring training. But now I'm like this time I was like, it had a little stank on it this time, don't you think?
Well, I think we might have been staying around a stank area as well, a little
The,
bit.
the the place that we stayed at wasn't bad. I mean, well, speaking of stank, glad you brought that up. That's a perfect segue to talk about the place that we were staying in. Because speaking of stank, it definitely we were not allowed to throw toilet paper in the toilet.
No, that was a thing. That was like last year when we got our Airbnb. It was a converted what garage that they
Yeah,
or
it was a converted garage with no kitchen. I was wondering when I first walked. I didn't realize when we first walked in. I didn't realize that you had gotten there before me. You and the ninja had gotten there before me, and I couldn't believe. I was like, something's weird about these walls. Like the ceiling was real short, and the walls felt like thin. I'm like, is somebody living in these walls? And then we did hear people. Apparently, there were people staying on the other side of the house, and on the part that we were in, there was no kitchen. There was a microwave and a coffee machine in the living room. Now, granted, that's how most hotels are. There's no kitchen. There's just a microwave and a coffee machine. Sometimes not even a microwave. Like not even that. You don't even get that. But when you stay at an Airbnb, like it's called Airbnb for a reason. It's supposed to be bed and breakfast. Supposed to have a kitchen and everything like that. I feel like there should be regulation towards that. I'm not a big fan of Airbnbs, but the hotel prices were way too expensive when we went this time. World Baseball Classic and something else was going on.
NASCAR.
NASCAR and spring training. So hotels, like even in bad areas, were like $400 a night. Too much money when you want to see the games.
No, we had a
Uh,
good looking place, except for that we couldn't, flush our toilet tissue. But I got a secret. I did.
I did a couple times too. The money's already been paid. I'm sure they don't listen to this show, but I did too because I wasn't. I mean, what do you want me to do? You want me to put my shitty toilet paper in a plastic bag and walk it outside? That's crazy. That's insane.
Well, one of the bathrooms had a bidet, which was interesting. That was like my first time using a bidet for a week. Got to say, I kind of liked it, but also, that thing can catch you off guard in the morning.
That was one part of it. The second part of Arizona, which was interesting, was we kept running into places that. So we when we first went down to the WBC to watch USA play against Great Britain, pretty good Britain. Uh, there was nothing open. There was all these storefronts down there, and there was nothing open. And then we went to Marley's, but we couldn't get in. Dan Marley's downtown pub. And here's what's crazy about that is the Suns had a game that day against the Kings, which I'm glad they lost because I don't like the Suns. But nothing was open. The only thing that was open, but it was two packs, was the Taco Bell Cantina, which I still have not been to. Everybody talks about how dope Taco Bell Cantina is. But remember, we got in the stadium. A lot of the restaurants were closed inside the stadium,
Hmm.
and none of the bathrooms. Again, we kept running. This is why Arizona was shitty this time. And I'll say this:
Literally.
literally shitty, because at the Airbnb we was at, you couldn't flush the toilet, and then you get to where the Diamondbacks play. What is that field called?
Chase Field.
Chase Field. None of the damn none of the bathrooms had toilet paper.
I don't know what's going on with the pipes, but they're everywhere you go. They are against you flushing toilet paper. I must be like a water conservation thing.
No way, because you gotta flush. You gotta flush your waste.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, I know. I know people that do the if it's mellow, let it yellow. But I'm all about like there's other ways to conserve water. Like anything that's coming out of your body that's waste, I'm okay with flushing that immediately.
Yeah, Yeah, you gotta flush. You gotta flush.
When we went to the WBC, I think I talked about this a little bit on the podcast. I thought the strangest thing to me was we went there going like, yeah, yes, USA. Of course, we're rooting for USA. We're both American citizens. We want USA. But it felt like with that Arizona crowd, there was a bit of like a Trump rally to those USA chants there at Chase Field that day.
Yeah, it was so there was a guy sitting kind of next to us. Everybody stood up for both teams national anthems. And there was a guy sitting next to us in his Angels jersey. That's the other thing too. So many Angels fans in Arizona.
Too many.
I like I'm not a person who goes, this fan base doesn't have any fans. You know me. My kind of main sport is basketball, and I'm a Clipper fan, and the hackiest joke against Clipper fans is there's not many of us, there's not a lot of Clipper fans in the world. And I get that we're not as deep as Laker fandom, of course, because Laker fandom is huge, has a huge contingency of bandwagon fans and specific player fans that have played for the Lakers and stuff like that. But the amount of the sheer amount of Angels fans that were at that stadium baffled me completely. I did not realize there was going to be that many Angels fans out there. And yes, there was a twinge of real conservatism with. I mean, it's Arizona and they're Angels fans,
Mm-hmm.
so you're going to get that. The guy next to
Yeah.
me, everybody stood up for Great Britain, for God Save the Queen, and then he sat down. He purposely sat down and kept his hat on, and then he stood up when America the Beautiful came on, or not America Beautiful, but our national anthem, and found that interesting. I was like, ain't no way you're that patriotic, my man. Like everybody stood up for both. Everybody stood up for
Yeah.
both, and you got to be the guy who's like, I'm gonna sit for this one.
The crazy thing about where we were at in that Budweiser lounge out on that deck, actually, it was the Michelob Ultra Lounge, I believe.
Michelob Ultra Lounge.
The ninja is the guy who got us in there. Um, uh, and one of the requests from Hanson, who's my co-host on the show, he wants to know why he's called the ninja.
All right, so here's why he's called a ninja. First year at spring training, this dude, we would buy tickets, and I get a little anxious. I need to have a seat when I'm at these events. I need to have a seat. And for the listener, I just want to put y'all in on some insider info about your host and his cousin, the Ninja. They don't buy tickets in advance for anything, and that makes me anxious. And I'm not the type of person to do what the Ninja does, which is, well, I'm gonna buy a ticket for nosebleeds, but I'm gonna wheeze on my way on down. I'm too big for that. I'm too black for that. Like I don't do that. But the Ninja we'll just look up. Me and Myron will be in a full conversation, watching the game, watching some great pitching, and seeing the young guys ball, and seeing Hey Otani out there and stuff. And then we'll look up, and the Ninja is deep in right field, on the right field wall, like leaning over, getting the ball signed by the right fielder, whoever it is. Like, and then we'll go back to talking to each other, and then we'll look up again. He's sitting above us in the nosebleeds, like like he's all over the place, and you always catch him somewhere where he shouldn't be, but nobody says anything to him, and he's always ready to go when it's time to go. That's the most important thing, because I'm like, don't have me waiting for you. If you're gonna be ninjaing around, don't have us waiting. But he never makes you wait. He's always ready to go when it's time to go, and so that's why we call him the ninja, because you never know where he's gonna be.
But do you remember? It wasn't me. It wasn't you. It was this other couple that called him the ninja.
Yeah, yeah. They were sitting near us. They was like, that guy's like a ninja out there.
Yeah, they were upset. There were some people that were a little bit upset that the ninja was it down in their section, as if they bought all the seats down there.
Yeah, that was ridiculous, especially on games, because those games don't always be packed. The last one we went to, what was that? Mariners Rangers. That one was pretty packed,
Yeah,
but we got some really dope seats right behind home plate, and not directly behind home plate, but like up in the second level, which is better. We were sitting behind some analytics nerds for the Mariners.
yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Shout out to those guys. I'm sure you guys are listening to this to have some insider info on baseball because all you know is math.
So I remember sitting behind those analytic guys, and anything that we were talking about baseball, they were just you could just tell it just bothered them. They were tapping their feet and in front of me, just probably annoyed. The same,
Yeah,
he was acting as if I was sitting back there talking about like politics or something.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was fun though. It was cool to see. I did some recon because one of the guys had their badge out, and so I was able to Google his name and figure out who the person was and what they do with the team. Very young guys, and they're all about analytics.
Yeah, and they don't look like they played any baseball.
None. No, they weren't. They weren't very athletic. No.
Now the year before, to segue into some Mariner stuff, what's crazy is when we went, and we've put this on the Instagram here on Rye Bread, is you were there and you got to see this whole hype train on Julio like come to fruition the
Yeah,
week that we were down there.
yeah. That was the first time that I had heard of Julio, and I got to see him hit an in the park home run. Remember that? Wasn't it an in the park
Hmm.
home run? Yeah.
It wasn't in the
Uh,
park home run.
which I also think maybe the first time that I've ever seen that in person, that at the professional level. I mean, I've hit one in my beer league because and I got in trouble for it. So I'm in a league where you have to have two girls on your team, and I hit one to the girl who was playing right field.
Did they suspend you?
They didn't suspend me, but the girls
Oh.
on my team, cancel me for the rest of Sunday because they were like, "Did you target her?" And I go, "Yeah, she wasn't gonna catch it. I just got us I got us a run."
Yeah, man
And shout
or
out to
woman, I'm hitting the ball to the worst player on the
yeah,
field.
it doesn't matter, and that's exactly what I said because I'm like, if there was a dude over there that I knew wasn't gonna catch the ball, I hit it his way too. It doesn't matter. I'm not just gender discriminating. She just happened to be the worst player on the team. There are some girls who will be playing in right field that I would not hit it to.
Yeah, or you could hit it to the oldest and fattest guy out there.
Exactly. I know he's not gonna be able to get it. I'm at least get the triple off of him, and I'm not the fastest dude in the bunch, but I'm at least get a triple off of him. So I hit it to her because I knew she wasn't gonna catch it, and like I thought, she didn't catch it.
There is the video. I think it's pinned, or I'll repin it after this episode. But if you watch this home run, I mean, we're right there. We're literally in the on deck circle. If you watch the video, two things. If you just watch and wait for it, you will see Carl, but you also could find the identity of the ninja in that video.
Yeah, but you don't know who it is. But he
Yeah.
is in the video.
Speaking of the All-Star game, I think we should get all of our listeners and our friends and families to write NBC, or not NBC, actually write NBC and write Fox. And I feel like you should be like the write-in person. I don't know. They should have a vote of where you can vote in celebrities or TV personalities for the celebrity softball game. How much would you like to
Yeah,
play in that game?
I would love to play in that, and I would hit it to the girl. Uh,
So right into Fox and NBC, uh, and let everybody know that you should be out there. You should be I think you should be pitching. I've seen you pitch a game, and I would love to see a redemption performance after that performance.
I was nervous. But as a matter of fact, I was actually just about to hit you up recently and be like, "Let's go out and throw some balls uh, before because the season is about to start again." And you did say that you would be down and play on the team. Uh, but I do want to pitch because I know I can throw pretty hard. I just can't. I just have no accuracy, and I want to start getting some accuracy.
You were pretty confident, and then you got nervous really quick when I went. You told me
Yeah,
you specifically said record this, and
yeah,
then
because I have been
and then
practicing. You saw me
and I
warming
re-
up.
and then you
You were
came
warming up
over.
with me.
Yeah, and you said, "Make sure you record this," and before you were even done, you told me to make sure to delete this.
Yeah, make sure that video never sees the light of day. But you were warming up with me. And you were like, "You're ready."
I remember that day I came to your game and I was walking around and the outfield was a really hot day and I had my shirt off and you said, "Put your damn shirt back on." It was a nice day and I was feeling a little pale. So some of the people that might have listened before we were here on Odyssey, maybe the Odyssey audience doesn't know you have written on a baseball show, Brockmire. Can you tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about that experience?
It was great. It was great being able to. We didn't talk about much baseball on the show. The show was more about relationships of the people. But I got to hang out with Hank Azaria. Hank Azaria came in the room with us a couple times. He was really dope, really cool guy. Sent me an email at the end of the season that I still have pinned in my favorite starred emails, which I don't have many of. But Hank Azaria is in there under Henry A, and he sent me a really nice email. He said he liked my episode probably the most of the season, which was really dope. But it was more about relationships than and less about baseball. But I got to in my episode I got to talk a lot about my hometown and a lot about the baseball situation in New Orleans and stuff like that. And they got a minor league team down there, the Baby Cakes,
That's a
and
great
so
name.
it's really dope. Let me make sure they haven't. Before I say it, let me make sure they haven't changed that name because those names be changing. Do you notice that minor league team names change a lot?
Well, in my lifetime, like for Tacoma, it's been two things. First, it was the Tacoma Tigers because the Oakland A's had their their AAA team up there, and I would go there with
Yeah.
my grandparents and watch that. And then it switched to the Rainiers because the Seattle Mariners at the time, their AAA was the Calgary Cannons in Canada, in Calgary.
Hmm.
But they switched that all around. I think I'm not sure what year. I'd have to look up the year of the alignment when they realign those things. But it was very interesting to see, like, like Jose Canseco and his brother Ozzie Canseco and like rehab assignments and things like that. And like when Tacoma was the Tigers, when they were Oakland, this is like during when Oakland was really, really good in like the late 80s and the early 90s. So there was a lot of really good players that came through there.
Yeah. See, while I'm saying this, I didn't even realize it. It shows you how much I pay attention to uh, Double A baseball, and I should have known because they're not on the show. But the New Orleans Baby Cakes are now the Wichita Wind Surge. Wichita Wind Surge.
These minor league names, sometimes I feel like they're way too creative. And then sometimes I feel like, did you even try?
The trash pandas.
Trash pandas. Who's the trash pandas?
The trash pandas are. And let me look it up. Trash pandas. And it's Rocket City Trash Pandas. So that means that is and they're affiliate of the Angels, and they play in the Southern League, and that's in Alabama. So Rocket City is like Huntsville, Alabama, because it's where NASA is, and so they play down there. The Rocket City Trash Pandas.
But some of these names, though, it kind of feels like, where you could go those name generators and they're like, what's your pimp name or what's your
Yeah, yeah,
wrestler's name?
yeah.
And that's what
Your porn name.
that's maybe talked about a little bit about this on the previous before we moved over to Odyssey, but you told a baseball story on Drunk History.
Yeah, Moses Fleetwood Walker, the first black professional player before Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson was the first player in MLB, but Moses Fleetwood Walker played professionally with the Blue Stockings, Toledo Blue Stockings or something like that, and he went through hell. And he was playing in like the early 1900s. It was a really dope story.
You told me you had to take a physical before you did that.
Yeah, you got to do blood work to make sure your liver is working right. So you got to go to the doctor, get your blood work done. They test your liver out because that's just for liability. So there's a lot of liability things that would go into the show. So like they weren't they even though the show is called Drunk History, they were never allowed to tell you how much to drink. Also, like the first time I did it, I didn't drink enough because I'm a big guy, so it takes a lot to get me down. And they didn't tell me that. I was like, am I supposed to drink before I show up? And they were like, we're not saying that. So I showed up and Derek wasn't there yet. And I was like, do I start drinking now? And they were like, we got to get confirmation from like, it was like really like, they really want to make sure that you don't get alcohol poisoning and you don't they're very serious about that. So uh, they have a lot of liability. You got to sign all these waivers and everything. You got to take all these like, charcoal pills and stuff that are like help you not be hungover and not be messed up the next day. But the second time when I wasn't a rookie anymore, I definitely drank before I went just to have a little bit more juice. And then me and Gabers went outside and played barehanded catch in the dark. So that could have been dangerous because we were drunk.
So when that's got to be quite a change of going and taking a physical to go drink versus, like, you played sports and you had to take some physicals and stuff like
Yeah,
that. Did you ever think you were going to be taking a physical
to drink.
to drink?
That's adulthood. This is what adulthood is.
And you're like,
This
trust
is
me, I'm fine.
yeah. I know what I'm doing. And
I
they were
know
like,
what I'm
"Nah, you
doing.
don't get it. You don't get it. You have to do this." I'm happy I did it though because it was a free physical.
Yep. Uh, but like, and then going in the Wayback Machine now, listen, we know you from obviously Grand Crew, and Comedy Bang Bang, lots of things, UCB stuff. But when you were first working in the business, just like a lot of other actors out here, you did a little bit of extra work when you were first breaking in. And the cool story is that I know we talked about. I don't know if we talked about this on the last one, but you told me prior to that episode, which I really didn't even know, even though we've known each other so long, you were like, I worked on Moneyball. We happened just to be talking about Moneyball, and you actually worked on Moneyball as an extra.
I was a featured extra in Money. Well, not featured because you didn't see me, but I was one of. I played for the Oakland A's in Moneyball, and I never got to take no at bats or catching, but we just played a little pepper and then kind of walked around in the uniforms and practice gear and stuff like that. But it was a good time, and got to fly up to Oakland for 2 weeks and work on that, and that was really fun. I also was a baseball player on Thomas Jane's show, Hung, HUNG,
Yes, that's
on
right.
HBO, and I was a baseball player on that, and that was when I really learned the craziness of this business because that show we went full out, like full baseball practice for 8 hours one day, and only got paid what we were there to get paid, which at the time I was non-union. That was $64 for 8. So basically $8 an hour. So basically I was everybody was sliding all day. All of our if you chose to slide like chest first, you had to do that a bunch of different times, and we were hitting and we were catching and we were like we had a real practice, except the practice wasn't 3 hours like it used to be when we were kids. It was 8 hours. That whole day we were just practicing baseball, and we were so tired. And everybody's drawers were full of dirt, and everybody's socks were fucked up, and it was a rough ass day.
Well, listen, I played a lot of baseball. I put in a lot of time playing baseball, and you made more in that day than I ever did, doing that. So
Yeah,
I'm not
I
gonna.
technically was a professional baseball player because I got paid to play baseball.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I remember I auditioned once for a baseball player, and I just obviously was not believable. So I mean, it was same thing that any other college coach was
I
was
did
was
lose
doing.
because of that, and here's a fun fact for you. Because of that, I do lose my college eligibility. So I was 18 years old. So even if I wanted to go back and play sports, I did play. I played basketball, a little bit of basketball in college. But once I got paid to do the sports stunts that I used to do, 'cause I used to do all of them. I did some football, I did some baseball, I did some basketball. Once I got paid to do that stuff, once they handed me a check, I was considered a professional, and I lost all college eligibility, so I couldn't play college ball anymore after that.
Damn. Since we've known each other, we've definitely bond over like baseball, a lot of sports stuff, but we really enjoy Ken Griffey Jr., Deion Sanders. Who are some of your favorite players to watch now, and ones that you like to go back on YouTube? You really love to go back and check out old stuff on YouTube.
Yeah, Griffey definitely. The crime dog, Fred McGriff, who you put me on,
Yeah.
because I didn't remember him from those teams. I gotta be honest, like growing up in the '90s, I was a Braves fan, but that's in quotations because it definitely like
TBS.
yeah, TBS and everybody liked the Braves. If you were in the South, I was in Mississippi. My uncle was a big Braves fan, so I watched the Braves games. Of course, Deion Sanders, and then we all loved and everything. Nowadays, Mookie's my guy. Uh, I like Julio up in
Mm-hmm.
up in uh, in Seattle, of course. Uh, Even though I don't like the Angels, I like Trout and Otani. Like they're cool to watch play. And Yeah, I'm paying more attention now. Do you want to hear my roster for fantasy?
Yeah, let's hear it. I'm sure the listeners will love to hear your
Okay.
fantasy roster.
So I'm in 11th place right now, and I can't figure out why.
11th
I
out
think
of
my
what?
12. And I don't know what happened, but Ian Happ just hit a home run as we speak. So he's on my team. Dansby Swanson also got me a home run today, so I'm winning my current matchup pretty good. My OPS is real high. I need to figure out how to bring that down, and my batting average is at 300, so that's good. But oh no, my OPS is good. Never mind. Anyway, here we go. I have Kybert Ruiz as my catcher, Freddie Freeman, who was another player I like to watch. I have Glaber Torres. I have Matt Chapman. I have Dansby Swanson, Ian Happ, Jordan Alvarez. Right now I'm starting Nick Senzel, and I have Danny Jansen starting. I got Rengifo from the Angels, Benintendi from the White Sox, Hunter Renfro, JD Martinez. I have Seth Brown of the and Francisco Lindor, who I'm for some reason is not in the game right now, but he went 1 for 6 today, so it doesn't matter. And Bryson Stott, yeah. And then David Cease pitching, Brandon Snell, Chris Bassett. This is Mitch Keller pitching, Tony Gonsolin, Josh Hader, who I thought played for us. I know we got the other guy. I always get him mixed up. Josh Hader and what's the guy that used to play for the Mets? Francisco Batista, Felix Bautista, Kenley Jansen, and I don't get the Merrill Kelly and Brandon Woodruff, who's on my IO right now. But
Your own drafting, or did you let the computer do it?
well, here's the problem.
Or the
I
analytics experts?
I had to I drafted my first like 5 players. I got Jordan Alvarez, Freddie Freeman, the guys that I definitely wanted on my team, and I had a chance to get Otani, but Otani's weird in fantasy, so I didn't take him. I had to auto draft because I had a show at the time. I had a comedy show at the time, so I had to auto draft a lot of the players, and that draft is super long.
Yeah,
But
no, those drafts. When I used to play fantasy sports, I typically did the same thing. I would go get the important players that I knew I had to have, and then after that, yeah, then I got distracted by, I don't know, Monday Night Raw or something
yeah,
that came on it, and I and
after like 10 players, it's like all right, man, too
no,
many players
after
on this
that
team.
point, these are the players I'm going to trade and offer up. So it really doesn't matter. Most of the time in those leagues, after your studs, that's where I'm pulling from the free agents. It's also why I was terrible at fantasy sports as
Yeah,
well. I have a lot of
Football, I've won my league a couple times, but
oh,
baseball and basketball are tough. Oh,
I've won
I did win my
one
basketball
football
league
league.
this year, huh?
I've only won one fantasy league, and that was a football one. I've never won in baseball. I had in 2009 or 2010, I had a whopping massive lead over everybody in my league. And about halfway through the summer, I went to Europe for like 6 or 7 weeks. And I asked my friends in the league, and this was like in 2000. This is before you could go anywhere. I bought like an iPhone. I mean, this is before you could just hop on anywhere. But yeah, it was 2010. I bought a brand new iPhone so I could like keep track of my team. And I get over to Europe, and they're like, "It doesn't work." And I'm like, "I need to call AT&T," and they're like, "What the fuck is AT&T?" So then everybody in the league was like, "Oh, we'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about a damn thing." I came back. I was in 5th place when there's only 6 teams made the playoffs. I end up losing the last 2 weeks. I end up getting knocked out of the playoffs, and I never fucking played again because that that was it. That was my only shot with that team. I had all kinds of good trades I made earlier in the season off of people's emotional reactions. I go to Europe, it all fell apart. I'll never have a season like that. I felt like the Mets or any of those teams that ever have had huge collapses from that. And that was the last time I tried to play. I really tried to play fantasy baseball.
it's a tough score. It's a tough sport, but I want to do better because last year, for the past 2 years, I've been in the same league that I'm in right now with some guys from Birds, and I just
It's a
start losing
local
every
bar
time,
down the
and I
street.
just yeah, and I don't understand what is making me lose because I'll be like up, like right now I'm up, but anything could happen. It's a fickle fantasy baseball is a fickle mistress. You want to talk about these City Connect jerseys?
Yeah, we talked about that before we were about to record. Yeah, the City Connect jerseys. I'm gonna talk about it on the other podcast. But when it comes to like gear and baseball fashion, that's something that we always talk about. You know, we kind of sound like we should be on like Bravo or E when it comes to
Mhm.
uniforms. But what do you think about the? Let's start with the Mariners one. What do you think about the Mariners City Connects that just came out?
Now we disagree on this, but I like them. I think they're cool. I like the darker color. The hat I really like. I didn't realize it had a black brim though, so that changes things. But the hat I really like, and I do also. I'm gonna get one of the hats, especially because that's a Mariners hat that I can wear in the city. But I think it's cool. I don't know. You got to tell me what the color scheme is representative of and why they chose this jersey. Because like what is it about this jersey? Is it like a plane reference to Boeing or something like that? Or
Well, well, first of all, I want to say my initial reaction to the uniforms is it wasn't that I disliked it. I think I said they're going to have to grow on me, and they have. I've warmed up to it. I've warmed up to it in the last 4 or 5 days since they've come out. But yes, I was upset. It was more like I was more upset that they didn't use, in my mind, my idea. I wanted to have those powder blue. I wanted more of that like old school powder blue, like that they were in the 80s. But briefly, but no, that they have warmed up to me. Maybe it's the pants that's going on. But to answer your question, I believe the design, the Seattle that goes across the front, and you said it kind of has an airplane thing. Ode to Boeing's. Well, maybe that's what the pilots were. You know, the Seattle Pilots,
yeah,
the original team. So I think that's what is an ode to them. I know on the sleeves there is the PNW and the mountain, which is a ode to Mount Rainier and the Rainiers. Uh, the the black that's part of it that's integrated into it's from the Steelheads, and then you have the My Oh My down in the left or right corner of the jersey, and that's a ode to Dave Niehaus, My Oh My, break out the rye
mhm,
bread and the mustard, grandma, it's grand salami time, swung on and belted. That's what that's for. Soto Mojo on the back of the tag or where the tag would be is embroidered in there. And that's south of downtown. That's the area that T-Mobile Parks play is located at. And Soto Mojo was a campaign, and yeah, it's an ode to 100 years of baseball in the Pacific Northwest. And I have warmed up to the jersey. I'm the more and more when I'm on social media and I'm scrolling and I keep seeing it and I keep seeing the accessory stuff to it, I'm starting to like it. But that's what the background of the uniform is, and I guess they've been working on it for 3 years.
that hoodie is gonna be dope.
Yes, the hoodie is very, very, very clean. But have you seen? I don't know if you could pull it up. I have it pulled up. ESPN has ranked all of the City Connect jerseys,
Hmm.
and it is interesting who they have number one and who is the worst of the bunch. But I will say it's very interesting. Like some teams have taken, they've brought in jerseys and uniforms just back and that they've had or stayed with the same color scheme. Some teams have completely went off the rails. I know why I wanted to bring this up. I don't think you're gonna like this. There's 17 teams that
Yeah,
have been issued, and you know who's in dead last here.
I see. I'm looking at it now. Okay, so here's my feelings on this. So coming in at number 17 with the worst City Connect jersey, but according to ESPN, according to the guy that wrote this, is the Dodgers, Los Dodgers 40th anniversary of Fernando Mania, the historic 1981 season by pitcher Fernando Valenzuela. So here's where this comes from. So there was people selling, like, of course, as we know, Los Angeles is Latino, a hugely populated Latino place. And they're, I'm assuming, probably 75% of the fan base is Latino. Uh, and so, you gotta show some respect to them, especially because they've been rocking with the team for so long. Um, but there was people selling Los Doyers, which is like, an affect of an accent, and the Dodgers kind of put a cease and desist out on that stuff, and then to make it Los Dodgers, uh, it's kind of like not a slap in the face to that person, but I don't know if they like honored that person. I don't know if they said anything to that person about it who was doing the Los Doyer stuff. Los Doyer stuff is really popular in the city. You see people walking around with T-shirts on that say Los Doyers and stuff. Viva Los Doyers. Um, but this person says, given how many consider Dodgers uniforms to be the most beautiful and timeless in all sports, the City Connect alternate falls flat because they did not deviate much from the tried and true formula. While every other team looks at, now I agree with that. I'm not mad about it. I don't know if this is the worst one. I know who I think is the worst one, but I agree that they didn't change enough about the uniform. Like they kept the normal blue. They put a little black on the sleeves. I did buy one. I got a Mookie one. You saw it when we went to spring training. I wore it.
Yeah.
Uh, the hat is basically the same as the Mariners hat. Blue. I mean, black brim, blue hat, and it says Los Dodgers. And that hat is pretty dope. I do like the hat a lot. But yeah, I don't disagree with him. Coming in at number 16
Yeah.
is the Atlanta Braves. Now, the
Kind of the
Atlanta
same
Braves
thing.
won. What?
Kind of like the same thing. Well, not the same thing. I was going to say the Atlanta Braves one is basically a uniform they had at one point.
Yeah, they're like 1970s uniforms. It looks like a 1980s uniforms. It doesn't, and they say although the design on its own looks better than the Dodgers uniform, it's surprising to see a team in year three of City Connect unveil something so conservative. It is pretty conservative. I do like it says the A as opposed to just the A, but like the A because the A is what people affectionately call Atlanta. But it's like the Hank Aaron uniform, like the white with the blue sleeves. I like it. It's classic, but it is kind of boring, and I don't like the hat. I don't like two tone
And
hats really.
I wouldn't have known that that was a City Connect thing. I just thought that that was a throwback.
Yeah,
The Cubs also they're coming in at 15. The Cubs have the Wrigleyville, all dark blue, but as when you go to Wrigley Field, there's a lot of that blue with the little cubby. I used to have the hat there. I don't know if this was a throwback or this
yeah,
was I mean obviously Wrigleyville is maybe the City Connect, I guess that's what the City Connect is.
yeah. Now, see, I this is ahead of the Dodgers. I think this one is very boring, but I also believe that I get why this is ahead of the Dodgers because at least they did something different. At least they put like Wrigleyville on it. Dodgers could have had an East LA jersey. That would have been dope, or Elysian Park or something like that. I
Uh,
think I do agree with them that this is a little bit better, but I still think it's pretty boring. And
I
then
think the
coming in at
thing
number
that
14. Oh, well, go ahead.
yeah, I think it was one of the things. I think the thing that really sums it up here, that in this article it says it was a safe approach for Wrigleyville, right? That was a
Yeah,
safe thing.
yeah, yeah. They should have made a Boys Town jersey.
Yeah,
Uh, Coming up next, number 14, the Kansas City Royals. I really like this logo. I think it's really cool. I think
yeah,
this I think this is a little bit low on the list.
yeah. I looked up this like the origins of this and yeah, it does pay, I think we talked about it before, yeah, it does pay homage to their baseball past with the Monarchs, Blue
Hmm.
Sox, the A's, the Packers, the Blues. But yeah, I really enjoy the Kansas City Royal throwback. I actually like the Royals uniforms. I've always liked that. Maybe just the correlation with Bo Jackson, and that was a popular thing when I was growing up as a kid, was
Yeah,
the Bo Jackson jersey and the hats. But these are pretty cool. I also thought it says, yeah, definitely had an ode to the Monarchs, because I was wondering if this had some sort of tie-in with the Negro Leagues.
Yeah, it looks dope. I think it's really awesome. It's a little bit of the crown right there for the Monarchs. I'm judging all of them on if I would buy the hat, and with this hat, I would buy, and I might even get it because I think it's cool.
Moving on up to number 13, we got we got the Giants, and I gotta say,
Yeah,
this might be the ugliest ones I've seen so far on this list, and I've actually not seen them. I guess they debuted last year in
yeah, I
July.
saw them. They're ugly as
Oh yeah,
hell.
you see the Dodgers, you see the Giants quite a bit, but I
I
mean I
thought it
haven't seen
was.
them enough that maybe they don't break them out very much because they're ugly.
Yeah, it's an ugly jersey, and I think what's so crazy about this one is it's still not what I think is the ugliest. I know what I think is the ugliest, and we're gonna get to it soon. But I don't understand. It looked. I thought it was the All Star. Remember the All Star jerseys kind of looked like that. It looked like they
Yeah,
just took the All Star jersey from last year, and like it's just it's whack. I think it's whack.
and
Giants fans reacted overwhelmingly negatively, criticizing everything from the elongated G to the fog gradient to the shade of orange. Yeah, it's whack.
as a Dodgers fan, does that just kind of warm your heart that they
If they don't like
totally
it,
struck out
absolutely.
that they struck out on this one?
Yeah. Now this next one at number 12, the Milwaukee Brewers Brew Crew jerseys. I have seen these. Hot take, I think these are cool. I think it's a little bit childish, like Brew Crew, but like I do believe that this is cool.
I feel like this reminds me of a Sunday beer league, to be honest with
Yeah,
you.
yeah, and
But
that's what makes it
listen,
cool. That's what
they're
makes it look cool to me.
they are the Brew Crew. This is formerly the Seattle Pilots, so maybe that's
Yeah,
why when I said I would love to see the powder blue and the yellow, maybe this is why they want to stay away from it.
yeah, yeah. That's cool though. Oh, and they got the MKE, which is the airport hat. I wouldn't wear that hat,
I,
but the jersey is pretty cool.
as far as connecting to the city, that's a pretty clever thing.
Yeah, yeah. Basketball does that a lot. Like what's it called? Uh, uh, what's the place? Minnesota. Minnesota uses their airport called sign too on one of their city edition jerseys. The Minnesota Timberwolves. Next up, number 11, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Now, again, I give credit where credit is due. I think these jerseys are old school. They look dope. I don't like the hat because it's two tone, but I think this is really cool. I don't understand the surfboard connection to it, but I get what they're trying to do with that. But I think this jersey is pretty damn tight.
I'm biased because I don't like the Angels, but if I had to, if I was forced, from some sort of court order to wear
Yeah,
an Angels jersey,
it would be this one.
these ones are very nice. I do like these old like kind of like Nolan Ryan era. I guess I would call them Gene Autry era
Yeah,
jerseys. They you're not a big fan of the two tone hat. I'm not really fan of I mean, the angel symbol is kind of cool, I guess. It's not that's not, I don't hate it. But it's just, the Angels fans really bug me. The red,
hmm
just I share the same sentiment with my grandma. She actually, we're getting her tickets to go to a game, and she says, as long as it's not a team that's wearing red, against the team wearing red. But yeah, it's definitely got that 60s surfer thing. Like it definitely screams Beach Boys. Uh
yeah.
I remember we're looking at a picture of uh Trout holding a surfboard. And these debuted last year. I've seen them quite a bit, but like again, these ones they might sneak past you as a City Connect and not just a throwback.
Not just throwback. Yeah, they and I also look how crazy it is that they did this on an overcast day. Like they're like, we got to get this picture out now. We can't wait for the sun to come back out.
Yeah,
Even though they're supposed to be representing a sunny day in California.
yeah.
Uh,
And they're like,
well,
no, we're
next
gonna
up,
do this right. We're gonna do this in the June gloom.
yeah. Next up, we got the Arizona Diamondbacks Serpientes jersey. I like this. I wish the color wasn't that. I don't like when they do that. That you don't like the Mariners jerseys when they do the wall, the eggshell white or whatever this is. Just kind of like off white.
Yeah, it just feels like when I see the off-white jerseys, it feels like somebody left their jersey in like a like in a room full of like the like Marge Simpson's sisters or something where they're
Yeah,
just chain
but
smoking
it's
like it's
smoking.
got the, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I don't know. I mean, uh I do like, oh no, I'm looking at it. I just don't like the not we're both not fans of snakes. Um
yeah, yeah,
but yeah, I mean, I get it. It says here it's referencing the what's this, the Sonoran Desert. But also when I'm thinking about the Sonoran Desert, I also kind of think they could have went with something with like the rocks and the mountains on it. But this, look, it's a classic baseball jersey. It kind of just feels like they got a little bit safe here with these.
yeah, yeah, for sure,
Outside of
for sure.
using the Spanish language. These came out in 2021. I don't see the Diamondbacks too much, but I actually had never even seen these jerseys.
Me neither. I hadn't seen them until I looked at this article recently. I had never seen this one, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty
And
cool.
here
But
in
this
this
next
next
one though,
Yeah, this next one, we're
this one
staying in
is
the Southwest with the Texas
yeah,
Rangers.
Rangers.
We haven't the Mariners have not played the Rangers yet in yet this season, but they're doing well. I did see these jerseys when they um, debuted. This is a far different approach from what you usually see the Rangers wearing.
Yeah. Now the Rangers have a very classic uniform. I do like the Texas Rangers. I like Texas Rangers hats a lot, and if they weren't connected to a gang here in Los Angeles, I would have one. But I this hat is one that I will get. Like this hat is one that I will buy. I really like this hat.
I what I do like about the uniform, I kind of like the numbers up on the chest
Yeah,
like that. You don't see that. It's very different.
yeah. The number
Uh,
of stuff. They look like a creative team. They look like a prison team. That's what I think
they
is
do,
cool. Like the aesthetic of it
especially with
looks
the
like a
pants.
yeah, yeah. I think they did a good job with these. Texas Rangers did a good job with these hats. I wish I was from Texas because that hat would be dope. And also, of course, I will never ever wear anything Astros. So,
Yeah, which
uh,
is a good segue. There are the next one here at 8. I've seen these uniforms way too damn much.
yeah,
Obviously, it's an ode to NASA and the space program being down in Houston. Houston, we have a problem. Uh, they also look like janitor uniforms to me.
yeah, yeah. The number on the pants is pretty cool. I think that's a cool little addition. But
The hat doesn't isn't too far of an approach away from their traditional hat.
nah, nah, it's the same thing. So, yeah, boring. I don't think they needed. I think these jerseys could definitely be down a couple notches.
Yeah, you and I both have a um, connection on not liking the Houston Astros, so we won't give them any more podcast time here. Here's another city and town we have some mixed emotions about. The Boston Red Sox, and they go with the yellow and the what is it, sky blue, and
Yeah,
I do not know what this is a reference to.
yeah. I so this is the flag, the city flag of Boston. So I did see this flying, and at
Okay.
first I thought it was in support of Ukraine, but it flies all over the city. And when I went to Boston, I got to see it up close. Everybody like has it on outside of their buildings and stuff. So this is and then
Yeah,
the
I'm seeing
Boston
here.
letters, I believe, are their subway system, how that looks or whatever. The hat, now the hat has me torn because this specific hat is the UCLA hat.
Yes.
That's what it,
That
so
that's what's confusing about it to me, and then you have the Boston Bruins, so I'm kinda like my left and my right brain sides of my brain are arguing over this or trying to figure this out. I was like, you already have the Bruins, which are already, I'm already always confusing with the UCLA Bruins when I hear it, and then
yeah,
now this is a UCLA Bruins uniform. This could easily be
yeah,
the UCLA uniforms.
yeah, absolutely. So not my favorite, of course. I mean, this is a biased. Let's see what the fans thought about it. While many traditionalist fans dislike the departure from the team's classic white and red uniforms, Others embraced the design, although the uniforms received mixed reception. The Red Sox sold out of the new city jerseys merchandise that was released along with them at Fenway Park Team Store. So yeah, everybody can shove it because people it's sold out. So
Yeah.
it is what it
And then
is.
number 6, moving up the ladder, we got the San Diego Padres. You've seen these uniforms. You see the Padres quite a bit. I actually really like these uniforms. This is a far. I mean, they have a little bit of yellow in it. That's about the only thing that really is tied to maybe some Padre colors. But they definitely went with this. I want to call them the Grand Theft Auto jerseys. I know some other people have some other nicknames for it, but it's got a very like 90s splash to it. It's almost got like a Saved by the Bell feel to it.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it at all. Definitely not. Definitely should not be number 6 on this list. Everybody, people like it though, but I definitely can think of 3 other ones that we've already gone over that look better than that one for sure. I do not like that jersey. It looks like they made that in Microsoft Paint.
Yeah, this is very Mountain Dew Baja Blast, I guess.
Yeah,
I'll give it that. Number 5, we got the Washington Nationals,
yeah, the
which is
cherry
interesting.
blossoms.
And in this article, they have not updated this because they still have Juan Soto wearing the what is this, like gray, like old school
It's
gray.
gray. Yeah, old school gray. It looks like a Ebbets Field classic jersey almost, but I know it's not that. But yeah, it's like gray, and it's got the cherry blossoms on it, and it's got WSH on it, which I don't know if that is the call sign for the airport, but I don't hate this jersey, uh, but it's definitely not my favorite. It's a little high on the list in my opinion. But
It kind of reminds me of those. No, I do have to say this. When you're at college and you can find like those mom and dad sweatshirts in the team shop. This kind of has
yeah,
like a Mother's Day thing to it, or like my
yeah,
grandma would definitely rock this.
yeah. I'll tell you this though. I know this is a baseball podcast, but the Washington Wizards cherry blossom pink jerseys are much cooler than this.
I will agree with that. And then the hat, same thing. It's got this. It's a little bit of a darker gray, more of a uh, not a metal gray. I don't know what you'd call that, but but it does have the blossoms on it. I think the hat is better than the jersey.
Gunmetal cherry blossom. Gunmetal cherry blossom.
Very Washington D.C.
Yeah, yeah.
That is quite a mix. And at
But
number four, we'll briefly go over this. We got the Seattle Mariners coming in at 4. Um,
coming in
and
number 4, and I agree with him. You may not agree, but I agree with him. I'm a ride for your team, even if you don't ride for him.
I'm warming up to it. I'm warming up to it, Carl. Number 3, we got the Miami Marlins. Quite an
You can't really
interesting
see what it
jersey.
looks like, but I think it's kind of cool. I think it's like uh it's an interesting, like, it kind of gives me Miami University of Miami vibes, which I like. Uh, but it's kind of boring. I think it's a little bit high up on the
It's
list.
it's the Marlins went with a bright red pinstripe uniform, predominantly a blue hat with a red bill, and the jerseys are a tribute to. I actually haven't seen them in a game, but the tribute is to the Sugar Kings, a AAA affiliate of the Cincinnati Reds that played in Cuba from 46 to 1960. So that's where this is definitely an ode to the Caribbean or Cuban baseball leagues.
Yeah,
And then the
yeah,
hat is a callback. It says here to the Sugar Kings logo.
yeah. The hat is pretty dope. I like the hat. I do enjoy the hat quite a bit.
Yeah,
It's
it
pretty
looks
dope.
like what is that, a crown? I thought it was a chef's
Yeah.
hat at first, or sugar, like a sugar hat,
It's a bag of sugar.
Yeah, I want to go. I'm gonna have to go and watch a game. I'm gonna have to go look up a game of these on there because a lot of this is too. How do they look on the players, and how do they look if you're rocking it in fashion? Because at the end of the day, these really it's for people to go out and buy this shit.
Yeah.
Number 2, we're getting close to top. The Chicago White Sox with the black pinstripe Southside ones.
100% agree. I think this is the coolest one. The hat is tight. The jersey's tight. Everything about this looks dope. You want to talk about Grand Theft Auto? This looks like kind of a San Andreas thing. This jersey is
Mhm.
so sick. Tim Anderson wearing it is a dope player to be
You
rocking
know
this
what?
one.
I would have loved to seen Frank Thomas in this
Absolutely,
uniform. He would fill
absolutely,
this out.
absolutely. This is dope. This is dope, and the hat is dope. Like
It's
if I was from
very,
Chicago, I would buy this. I would buy this jersey. I would buy this jersey in every player if I was from Chicago.
I agree. This jersey, it does have this '90s feel to it, but I know that they had those god awful black uniforms like in the '70s with the collars on it. I think
Yeah,
even Tim Raines might even have premiered in it. So it's kind of taking that. It definitely has that '90s feel with this. It definitely has a little bit of like like when I was in middle school and people had the Malcolm X jerseys. What I mean is just like the reverse pinstripe of the black and the white on there is pretty sick. And of course, just again, the lettering there with the South Side.
yeah.
It's pretty nice. And the hat, the shy,
The hat is dope. The hat is dope.
the hat you cannot go wrong with. That's like one of those things like if I next time I go to Chicago, when you go into a city, even though that your teams aren't there, you're always like, listen, I get a pass to buy a hat. I traveled there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Now, number one, I don't know. I don't agree with this. It is and I think I've talked about this on the other podcast. It is the Colorado Rockies jerseys, which I think personally looks like a commemorative can, like of Coors Light, like they would put out for like St. Patrick's Day or Christmas.
yeah.
Um, it I don't know how to describe these. They're green from the pants up to the top, and then the
Hmm.
tops of the uniforms are the Colorado Rockies, and then their hat is definitely tied to the state. These came out just about a year ago. It says that the inspiration is to pay homage, obviously, to the mountains and the pine trees with the pine color, and the new circular logo in the hat is for the soil and the gold for the sunshine, along with the CO abbreviation as the logos. Um, what do you think of these?
Call me crazy. I love them. But you got to remember that
You're
green is my
crazy.
favorite color. That green is my favorite color. I do not like the hat. I believe they should have went with the mount. Like they have a alternate hat where they just have the mountains on it and it's purple. They should have did that with these jerseys with the green with the forest green. But this is my favorite color green, so I actually really like this one.
Well, there you have it. That is the go check out this article. Well, it came out 4 days ago at the time. So it's by Jason Lee of ESPN, where he ranks the MLB city connections. Obviously, you've said here, wrapping up here, you've like the Mariners' new uh, City Connect hats. It's a hat that you can wear, but can you tell everybody why you cannot wear a Mariners hat? Because I remember I was getting you a hat or something, and you're like, I love that hat, but I cannot wear it.
You know, so the Seattle Mariners hat represents in Los Angeles and Los Angeles gang culture represents one of the largest Crip gangs in the city, the Rolling 60 Crips. For those of you who are unfamiliar with, I don't think anybody's unfamiliar with them anymore because Nipsey Hussle, who was tragically killed, was a member of that gang. But that is a tough hat to wear in this city because that gang has a lot of enemies, and so it like I wouldn't get in trouble. My mom actually lives in that area, so I wouldn't get in trouble for wearing it in the area. However, when you step out of that area and you might be in some unfamiliar places, like Dave and Buster's last night, I went to Dave and Buster's last night because they got a really good happy hour on Sunday nights, and there was a gentleman in there who probably was a member of a different gang in which the hat that I was wearing, and he had some not so nice stares, but he saw the company I was keeping and was like, "Oh, he's fine. He's not doing anything." But yeah, gang politics is real here in Los Angeles. You gotta be careful, especially when you look like me, and that hat can get you into some trouble if you're in the wrong place
So if
wearing
I
it.
see a group of guys in that area, I don't need to go up and go, "Hey, what do you guys think about this DH situation we got going on?" You know,
No, no, they're not gonna
no.
know what's going on.
There is a YouTube video that you sent me that people can easily Google to check this
Yeah,
out.
Kev Mac Videos did a whole profile on the hat and when it started and how it started. It's actually a pretty cool history of it, but it's unfortunate that you know hats have been adopted as monikers of gang culture in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
And
I went to
pretty much every hat in the MLB represents a different gang. Some are more dangerous than others. Some you can get away with. The '60s is one of the ones because it's such a large gang and it has so many enemies that's one that is very tough. The Texas Rangers, very tough. The Houston Astros hat you should never wear in this city. Uh, and but like LA hats are cool, of course. The Boston hat is also a really tough one. The Orioles hat not so bad, but it depends on where you're at and where you're going to be and what you're going to be doing. But listen, the fans don't want to hear about that.
No, the fans want to. Here's what the fans want to hear about. The fans, before we get out there, we want to talk a little bit about where to see you, where to catch you on the socials, and of course, a little bit about the Grand Crew that's you can catch now on Peacock both seasons. Get yourself caught up, right?
Yep. Every episode of the show now is on Peacock. The season 2 just wrapped last week. Just completed. The finale just aired. So as we sit here in about between now and midnight, we will find out if there's going to be a writer's strike. Just got an email with an update, and they said that the deal has not been reached yet. So we're gonna see. But you can find me on Instagram at dammit_Carl DAMMITCARL. And watch Grand Crew on Peacock, streaming now. Both seasons full. You can binge it. Watch 1 through 10 of season 1 and 1 through 10 of season 2.
I binged it today in case you pulled out one of those Sherm trivia things on me today to start asking me. I binged this morning before I knew you were coming over here because I had to catch the end of season 2. I love the show. It's great, not just because my good friends on there. It's a really good show. Also, you can be caught on with Comedy Bang Bang.
Yeah, you can hear me on the podcast Comedy Bang Bang. I got my own podcast, The Flagrant Ones, which is on Patreon. I have another podcast called XOXO Gossip Kings, which is a Gossip Girl watch podcast I do with my homeboy. Watching Gossip Girl from the perspective of 2 mid-30s black men. It's a perspective you've never heard on the show, I'm pretty sure. So check that out. Hit me up, Chunks the Deuce.
Well, thanks for coming on the podcast. And you know what? Here's something that we should do. Carl, you know what time it is. Charge. That was good. That was a good choice.